my son Kevin was just kind of getting into the. He got this wild hair and some kind of crazy notion that he wanted to be the next Vince McMahon, and so he was going to start promoting wrestling shows down here in the Memphis area. And I don't think I'd even met you. I don't. How did Kevin get you booked on that show?
Yeah, so actually, one of the first time I was down in Memphis for TV, we were me and another guy, and I can't even remember his name at this point. It was so long ago, and we haven't kept in touch. But we were like the Russian Olympic champions or something like that, and
of course
came in and did a couple shots, for you guys, and that's how Kevin met me. And then he calls me later, and this is December, and he's got this idea for an evil Christmas character, the Christmas creature.
Man, look at that Christmas creature. He gets the 1, 2, 3. He just picked Trey Keller up by his throat and slammed him down in there. He's looked totally awesome in this now. He took care of Trey Keller and got the 1, 2, 3.
He is huge. There's no doubt about it. Prentice was yelling during the movie. Yeah, tell Jerry Lawler about him. I guarantee you Jerry Lawler knows about him. This guy is huge. He comes in all decked out in red, white, and green with the tinsel wrapped around, including the mask. They call him the Christmas creature. But I tell you what, he may be dressed in Christmas colors, but he is certainly not having.
And the thing is, it's funny because I had these gimmicks, and we've all had them through the years. But for some reason, everybody always likes to talk about my old gimmicks, probably because they weren't very good. And I always want to say, I did a lot of stuff after that was really good, But the early on stuff, not so much. But anyway, yeah. So my mom made me this costume, and. With garland.
Hang on. Glenn, you said your mom actually made that?
Yeah, my mom made the costume. She sure did.
Oh, my gosh. See, I had no idea that. I thought that was some kind of crazy concoction that Kevin had come up with. And I've always held that against him.
Kevin designed it. My mom made it. But Kevin did design it. But it even had like flashing. I mean, it was way ahead of its time. It even had flashing lights with a battery pack in and the whole thing.
You were way ahead of Chris Jericho on that, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. It didn't quite have the success of Jericho, but it was way ahead of him technologically.
Well, Kevin would come up with these. He was actually a good guy as far as thinking up gimmicks. I'll never forget one time he brought me to my house. He brought me this big folder, this big, almost like a. I don't know, this big book of pictures. And Kevin's a pretty good artist as well. And so he had drawn up all of these crazy characters. And there must have been 100 of them in there. And he wanted me to take it to Vince McMahon. And it was like he that was his specialty. He could come up with characters. And I actually did take it and give it to somebody in the WWE at the time. And nothing really ever came of it. I think they sent it back and said, we're really not interested. But then somehow, surreptitiously, and not long later, the ringmaster showed up in the WWE, and that was one of the characters that Kevin had created in the book. But he never got any recognition or any monetary thing for it or whatever.
Poor Kevin, just like the Christmas creature never quite caught up to Y2J, the ringmaster never quite caught up to Stone Cold Steve Austin. So
right, you're right.
Poor guy. But yeah, our first match, I think it was in Kennett, Missouri, you and me, and I remember Frank Morrell coming across. I think it was Frank, coming over to the bad guys' locker room and telling me what you wanted to do. And I had no idea what he was talking about. I was so green, I didn't even know the terms that he was using. So you were lucky just to survive that one, man.